Hi there. Thank you very much for joining me on Literature in English, my dear students and candidates. You've done well be to have been following me and subscribing to my videos and liking the videos. I am so grateful. May you continue with the fine work. Well, the main focus is to help you to be able to pass your exam. So if you don't want to subscribe, maybe that's your own decision. I know there are many things out there in the system, and you might be enjoying many analysis, and that is very good. But here on this platform, from the examiner's point of view, we want to help you see how you can prepare well enough for your WASI, prose, drama, and poetry essay type questions, which is a problem for many of you, dear candidates of literature in English. The reason many people don't score good marks. So we want to try and come down to our students' level as teachers to help you know what is expected of you whenever you want to write an essay. Remember, in my earlier videos, I helped you see what you should do when it comes to literary essays. It's not like core English. So if you haven't watched those videos, I beg you, go back and watch the previous videos on that subject. Today, generally, we want to tackle how to answer questions that are related to subject matter of a particular poem. Yes, sometimes you'll find questions like analyze the subject matter of a poem. What do you do, dear candidates? All the 12 poems that you are studying for was, you are likely to find one of them that will be asking you to analyze the subject matter of a particular poem. What do you do? Stay tuned and subscribe and follow the discussion. Well, generally, there's only questions on analysis of subject matter that give you room to you, dear candidates, to do a close reading or examination of the poem. Whenever you've a question that demands from you to analyze a subject matter, it gives you the opportunity to clearly state the messages or the related ideas or the relevant information of the poem stanza by stanza. This is the only moment you do stanza by stanza analysis. Now, to be able to write an essay on subject matter questions, it is advisable, my dear students, that you know the poem well enough and how it is structured. Let me caution you here that you do not go talking about the structure or the pattern or the form per se, but you will agree with me that the clear knowledge of the form or the structure guides you to know at least where a particular stanza begins and where that stanza ends. This equips you, this helps you to be able to tell the examiner in this situation, of course, on paper, that each stanza presents this thing or talks about this. So if you know the structure, where the poem begins, the first line, where it ends, the last line of a particular stanza, it helps you. Please, I beg you, don't go talk about the structure if the question doesn't ask you to examine the structure or analyze the structure. Here, having in mind what the structure is composed of only helps you to know how to address it. This said, dear student, how must you approach your essay? Essay questions on analyze the subject matter of a particular poem. Well, We learned in our previous videos that every literary essay must have three, I repeat, must have three areas: the introductory paragraph, the body paragraphs well developed, and the concluding paragraphs. Now, with questions on analysis of the subject matter, what you would have to do, I want to show you. With the introductory paragraph, all that you need to do, first of all, is to define subject matter. So as a student of literature in English, you should be able to define what subject matter is. Then the second element that goes into that suitable introductory paragraph should be the stating of the main theme of that particular poem or that particular literary piece that you are analyzing. The point you want to talk about. What is the poem talking about? Give us the general idea of that particular poem. That will be enough for questions like this when you want to write the introductory paragraph. Then you now come to the body paragraphs. Note that the development of the body paragraph of a particular poem depends on the number of stanzas that it is made up of. The first stanza may talk about something. So you need to let us know, dear candidate, using expressions like the first stanza talks about this and this and this. The poet speaker describes so and so and so. You may continue and tell us, also he uses that and that and that. So as a general principle, your first sentence of that very first stanza should be a topic sentence. You recall, when we talk of the topic sentence, it is that sentence that states the general idea, the main idea of that very stanza. Then you should now have the major support sentence. It is the first sentence that is supporting what you have stated in the topic sentence. You get it? The poem describes or explains or highlights so and so. These are the type of sentences. Then your third sentence should be, and the subsequent ones will be the minor supporting sentences. These are series of sentences where you now add information. You now bring in details from the poem to support the claim you have made in the first and second sentences. This is where you try to give details from the poem that tell the examiner what the stanza is hinting at. Give evidence to show that what you are analyzing is really from the poem, not from your own imagination. Having done this, you now go to the second stanza as well of the poem. So the second body paragraph, which will now be your third body paragraph of that very poem, you will now say stanza 2 of the poem highlights or deals with or talks about or says that and that and that. And with the same approach, your first sentence of that stanza of that paragraph should be stating the main idea of the stanza, what that stanza is picturing, is depicting. You now state that in a full sentence. Then the second sentence should be the main support sentence, explaining or giving a hint at what you have said, what the general idea you portrayed is talking about. Then we come to the third sentences, where now you can begin to cite examples. Please, if you are citing examples, sometimes it's difficult, we understand. You might not have been able to memorize the poem to the full. Don't worry if you can't memorize. If you know how to paraphrase, that is, stating the same words or expressions of the poem, but using your own words, that is laudable. Let's take an example of how you can quote and how you can also paraphrase. Let's use this poem, The Good Morrow by John Donne, to express ourselves. Let's say you want to quote the first line. It says, I wonder by my troth what thou and I did till we loved, the first two lines. Suppose as a candidate you cannot quote these using the inverted commas, as it were, you are allowed to paraphrase. Yes, you can say the same things that the poet speaker says using your own words or in another way by saying, I wonder in all honesty, in all truthfulness, what you and I were doing when we loved each other. When candidates express themselves this way, we say they are paraphrasing the words of the poet speaker or of the poet. That is, if you are unable to say exactly what the poem says verbatim. My dear candidates, we have considered how to approach so far questions on analyze the subject matter theoretically. I guided you to look at how you can approach the first stanza, what goes into it, how the second stanza, what goes into it. If the poem has 3, 4, or 5 stanzas, it's the same approach. Don't forget that if it is the third stanza, you use the expression the third stanza talks about, or in the third stanza, we learn that, and so on and so forth. I hope you are prepared to consider a sample presentation. Yes. In the next video, we are going to look at a close reading of The Good Morrow. Then we'll look at how you will be able to present a good analysis of the subject matter of The Good Morrow. If you are ready to follow this discussion, why don't you subscribe to my channel or like the video so the next video I upload on analysis of the subject matter of The Good Morrow, you'll be the first to receive that video. Thank you.